kidding? Just one shot?
They're not all zombies, Doug. How do you fight this thing?
Maybe we could drown it in A1 sauce.
Well, sometimes that is better. The person you put up there ain't the person that comes back.
It's a dance song to get down with. About 6 feet under. Get down.
Ooh, I love this song.
And now we come to the thrilling final episode of our radio drama.
Hello and welcome to episode 120 of the Rotten Views podcast, where today we're watching a movie for the first time ever from 1994, Trapped in Paradise. But before we get into that, I want to say thank you to everyone who's been listening to the podcast, who's been sharing the podcast, leaving comments, leaving reviews, all that fun stuff. I appreciate everything. I've been seeing a bunch of various spikes, which are big spikes for me. A lot of these other podcasts, it probably wouldn't be even a speck on their radar, but there's been a couple days where I've had like 56 listens in a single day, even up to 100 listens in a single day, which I think is crazy. I appreciate all the new listeners. I see the audience growing ever so much, and I appreciate it all, and thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. I'm glad you guys are enjoying this. I enjoy doing the podcast. I do it in my free time, so the fact that I can do this and people actually enjoy it, it makes it a little bit better, I guess. It makes me feel a little bit better about myself. I know I'm doing this for myself, but the fact that other people can enjoy it as well makes it even that much more meaningful to me, I guess. And with this episode dropping, I believe it's dropping on the usual Saturday, which is Christmas Eve, I believe. Yeah, Christmas Eve. So I want to say Merry Christmas to everyone. I hope you guys all have a great Christmas. Hopefully you guys didn't get too much coal. I know I probably will, but that's besides the point. But yeah, I appreciate everything, and I hope you guys have great holidays. Hopefully you guys can spend it with your family if you do so, or if you guys are spending it alone and just relaxing, watching Christmas movies or horror movies or whatever you're watching. I hope you guys do have a great day, a great weekend, and I will see you guys before the new year, because I think, yeah, we're gonna have one more episode out before the new year, and yeah, it's gonna be another Christmas related movie just to end off the month, but you'll find out what that movie is at the end of this one. Just to put it out there firsthand too, if you guys want to check out the artwork, I've been posting a lot more artwork as well. You can check that out on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube's becoming the more popular way to look at the artwork because I'm doing YouTube shorts, and we still do have some YouTube like art streams set up and art videos that I'm editing and whatnot. All that stuff is going to start to go live in the new year. Might not be the first month, but probably the second month for sure. We're going to have some gaming videos going live on that as well, and we might try and do some other special content. It all depends on what timing I can get and how much stuff I can get done. I just gotta stop slacking. I feel like I'm always slacking, even though I do a lot of work, but it's just how my mindset is. I feel like I never get enough stuff done in a day or in a week or in a month, but that's just how it's always been. I'm a workaholic, and I don't mind that. So hope you guys appreciate all the new episodes that are coming out. I will be working on some new digital artwork at some point in time. I got some commissions that I need to get done as well that I'll be sharing, and we'll go through the video process so you guys can see me actually doing the artwork. Yeah, we're gonna have some more anime artwork coming out and some comic book stuff coming out as well, because that stuff's been actually hitting really well on YouTube, and I do enjoy doing that kind of style work. So yeah, hopefully you guys all enjoy it, and if you guys have any suggestions on what you would like to see me draw, just leave it down in the comments on YouTube, or send me a message at one of my social medias. Just drop a DMs, or even at the Rotten Views at Gmail podcast link. You can do that all as well. The link tree links will all be down below, so you just click on that and it'll take you to whatever sites you want to go to. So let's jump right into the movie at hand. We are watching from 1994. It's a comedy romance for an hour and 51 minutes called Trapped in Paradise, which is streaming on Disney Plus, and I'm an idiot because I bought a DVD copy. But that's alright. It's no big deal. On IMDb, it's a 5.9 out of 10. On Rotten Tomatoes, it's 10%, and on Letterboxd, it's a 2.7 out of 5. I think those scores are a little bit low, but that's just my personal opinion. Apparently, 72% of Google users like this film. Initial release was November 21st, 1994, and directed by George Gallo. George Gallo also did Bad Boys. He was the writer for that. Writer for Midnight Run, writer for Middlemen. I don't know that one. I should just stuck with the ones I actually know. But yeah, he was a writer for Bad Boys 2. I think he was a character too in that. I could be wrong. But he wrote and directed this in 1994, the movie that we're talking about, Trapped in Paradise. And then, there's a couple other things that are TV movies, or made for TV movies. So we're not going to really touch on those too much. It's got a pretty fun cast, I'm not going to lie. It's got Florence Stanley. She's playing the mother. She's best known for being Abe's wife on Barney Miller. I like that show a lot. So if you guys haven't checked that out, it's an old detective show. Definitely go check that out. You can find it on YouTube actually now, full episodes. But yeah, the main cast is Nicolas Cage, Dana Carvey, and John Lovitz. It's a very weird combination. One doesn't really belong with the others, that being Cage, because I don't take him as a serious comedy act, but the other two are pretty good. It's like an SNL movie, but like to my thoughts, it's an SNL movie at least. With a quick storyline, Bill Furpole, I think that's how they pronounce her last name, Furpole, has managed to stay honest, but can't help but be dragged into things by his larcenous brothers, the clever Dave and the kleptomaniac Alvin. When the three find a bank so easy to rob that they can't resist, the only question is whether or not they can get out of town before the big snowfall hits. While the three brothers run around town with their stolen loot, they are besieged with the kindness of the townfolk that might just set them on the path to righteousness. The quick tagline, the story of a town that gave so much, even these guys couldn't take any more. Trivia, the town in Trapped in Paradise has to appear virtually buried in snow so that the characters were trapped essentially and they couldn't leave. So the filmmakers supplemented real snow with 75,000 pounds of custom-made biodegradable potato flakes from Idaho. Also, one of the goofs is when Alvin is saying goodbye to Merlin the horse, he leans over to kiss him, and the kiss sound effect actually is heard while Alvin is still in mid-sentence, so it's a little bit of editing issues there, but it still makes for a fun scene, and I honestly didn't catch on to it, so there's that. So as always, this review or podcast episode will be full of spoilers for this movie. So if you guys really want to watch the movie and don't want to be spoiled, I'll understand if you pause it right now. But please make sure to come back. We need you here. I really do. I don't know why we do without you guys. Please come back if you have to pause it. But like I said, apparently it's streaming on Disney Plus. I'm an idiot and have a DVD copy. But that's fine. I like the DVD copy. It's just a basic one that I found in a cheap Walmart bin, so it's not that big of a deal. But anyways, we're going to jump right into the movie.
And now, preview time. When it comes to entertainment, you can't beat a good film. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
The following program is brought to you in living color.
Saturday Night at the Movies, the television series which each week brings you the finest in recent motion pictures.
20th Century Fox would like you to meet the Furpo family. Dave.
Once released from this prison, I, much like my reptilian brother, the pterodactyl, shall fly high above my problems.
Alvin.
Excuse me. The sign says take a pen, not take all the pens.
Bill.
Look at that abandoned car. It's my car. Oh.
Their ma.
Beautiful dreamer.
Hey, Edna, how would you like to ride in the trunk of the car?
Edna, are we sleeping together? I think not.
One big temptation.
Forget it.
Forget what?
There's no money in the vault.
And what have we here?
$275,000.
One brilliant plan.
All right! This is a robbery!
All right, who's got the key? Raise your hand.
Oh. Do you boys really want to do this?
Absolutely.
But on Christmas Eve, it doesn't seem right.
One huge mistake.
I just did what the map said. I made 4 lefts.
4 lefts? Is that Sarko, you idiot?
Robbing the bank was easy.
Oh my God, are you okay?
Well, we're not dead, if that's what you mean.
Why don't you come join my family and me for a wonderful Christmas dinner by the fire?
But surviving the nicest little town in the world.
Here we are.
That's the hard part.
Come on in. I just robbed these people. I don't want to get to know them, all right? If you don't give me that money, I'm going to throw your mother out the window.
All right, love you too.
Do you need any money?
No, we've taken more than our share already.
20th Century Fox presents the story of 3 brothers looking to get out of paradise.
Is there a bus or a train?
Any way they can. Nicolas Cage.
I'm getting this feeling that you're not telling me something.
John Lovitz.
Yeah, what this feeling you're getting is paranoia.
Dana Carvey.
Come on, let's just go.
Trapped in Paradise.
Don't aggravate the old witch.
I wish I was a witch. I'd shove my broomstick right up your
It's by 20th Century Fox. Movie starts out with a stage area of this like horse and sleigh, and it's like pretty much from a Christmas town that you would set up in your home, which is one of those glass ones. And then the intro credits roll in, and then we see the busy streets of, I believe, New York. Yeah, New York, because they go to New Jersey at one point. And then there's a traffic jam. Everyone's walking through the streets, walking down the sidewalks, walking through the cars on the road. They all are busy to get to where they're going, because it's that Christmas spirit. Then we see a wallet hit the sidewalk as it's getting kicked around town and down the subway stairs. That's when we see Bill, played by Nicolas Cage. He picks up the wallet and starts going through it, and there's a bunch of money in it, and they notice that there's like family pictures and stuff in it, and he wants to take it, but he feels bad at the same time. Then we see Bill in the confessions altar stand. I don't know, I don't do church where you do the confessionals. And he's like, Father, sorry, it's been a few weeks since I've been here. And the father speaks up, he's like, been 5 years actually since you've been here. He's like, okay, well, let's not start out on the wrong paths. Let's not start on the wrong feet. Let's not pick at each other's, issues. I know it's been a little bit of time. I just thought it was 2 weeks. So what if it's been 5 years? No big deal. We find out the wallet that Bill picked up had $800 in cash in it. We find out the father is doing a crossword puzzle the entire time while talking to Bill, and we find out Bill apparently mailed off the wallet to its rightful owner because he's a nice guy and he's the good son in the family. Then the father says, did you see the paper? Because anyone on parole at this time can get early release for the new year, I guess, as a Christmas miracle. Then we cut to John Lovitz, who is Dave, and Dana Carvey, who is Alan. John Lovitz's character is like a person who keeps lying and tries to be sneaky, and then Dana Carvey's character is the kleptomaniac who just take anything and everything that catches his eye. But we cut to them sitting in front of the judge, and they're telling jokes to the judge to try and, cheer him up and to release him quicker. I don't really know their plan there, but Dave Love's character goes on about how the joke was just to be like, I want to be like a hawk soaring up in the sky, flying high above to never return to jail ever again. And we find out Dave is known to be a liar. Like I said, Alvin is the kleptomaniac, and the whole time Alvin's just staring at this pendant that's on the judge's shirt, or maybe it was his tie. I wasn't really sure. He's just like, ooh, shiny. I want it. It's shiny. Then we see the guards taking Dave and Alvin to the front gates to be released, and I think Dave's giving the guards some money. He's like, yeah, go take out your wife or whatever. Spoil yourself a little bit. And then of course we see Bill, their brother, picking them up, and we find out Bill's not too keen on his brother. He's like, before you say anything, Dave, I don't want to hear it. Whatever you want to say is no. The answer is going to be no, and it's going to stay no. And then Alvin's like, you don't have any issues with me, do you? He's like, no, not yet, at least. Keep your mouth shut. So the three of them decide to go visit their mother. We see Dave making fun of this abandoned car that's on the side of the road, and Bill's like, that's my car. So Dave's like, oh, wow, it's really nice. I'm sure the space rocket makes less noise than it, but, you could probably get good gas mileage. And the entire time, Alvin's sitting in the back seat, just pretty much laughing and giggling. We find out Dave wants to go out of state to visit. There's this girl, a daughter, who is her father's in jail, and apparently the whole story is that the father hasn't seen his daughter in a while, and his Christmas miracle is to have her finally show up to jail to visit him because he hasn't seen her for so long. And that's when Bill's like, no, it's not happening. You're under my custody. You can't leave the state. We're not going to New Jersey. We're not going to Pennsylvania. We're not going to anywhere else. You're staying in New York, and that's that. Then they stop at a store to get some stuff, and then Bill stays in the car, but he looks out the window into the store, and that's when we see Alvin stealing all the money out of the register as the cashier's nowhere around. So he rushes in to take the money out of his pocket and push it back in the cash register, and the cashier comes up and starts screaming. He's like, no, it's fine. We're putting everything back. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's a little retarded. It's fine. But anyways, they go to leave the store, and the cashier's still chasing after him. And of course, there's cops next door busting someone else. So the three brothers freeze because the cops turn on them. And Bill has his hand in his pocket, and he goes to show the cop something. And that's when the cop gets ready to shoot at them, so they start running. And then Bill's very annoyed because he's like, I haven't been with you guys for 3 minutes, or 5 minutes I should say, and we're already being chased by the cops. So then Bill pushes the two brothers up against the wall as one of those rookie cops is coming up, and he pretends to be an undercover agent, and that, he's doing it as a ploy to save his brother's asses. But he's like, you screwed up this operation that I have going for the last 5 years. You go take your rookie ass out, go get the cars and get ready to pick these guys up. Next thing we see is them at home sitting down for a meal with their mother. The mom's going on about how she misses the big screen TVs and the VCRs that they used to have when the brothers were still around. And then Bill's like, well, I'm not sure who misses them more, you or the original owners. And that's when the mom's like, you're not saying the items were stolen. He's like, no, not saying it was stolen at all. No, of course not. I'm sure the gas station just robbed itself. And then Alvin speaks up. He's like, hey, they had no proof that we robbed the gas station. All they had was our fingerprints. That's no proof. Alvin, of course, is the stupider of the three brothers. Then the mom reads a note from Dave that is given to him apparently by the man in jail who wants to see his daughter. It's this whole love sappy story of trying to make people feel bad. And then the mom's like, you guys should go do that. You guys should definitely go do that. Then we see Bill getting ready to head out to work, where he's serving tables by the looks of it. And then Dave shows up asking if the customers like his brother's work. And then we hear police sirens in the background. It seems apparently Bill lost his wallet during the crime scene scuffle earlier on, so now the cops are searching for him, or at least that's what Dave tells him. The next day we see Dave in the payphone booth talking to his mother. The mom is saying they shouldn't come back to New York, and they are hiding in New Jersey at this point in time because the cops are hitting everywhere trying to find them. Then Dave mentions they can't go back home yet, so they might as well just do that job for their friend in Pennsylvania. Then Bill's saying it's just a setup to get his own way, and Dave is looking like an idiot, like, what? No, I would never. What are you talking about, brother? I would never scam you into doing anything that you didn't want to do. Then we see them driving down some back roads, coming into the small town known as Paradise. When they are driving, they almost run into an officer on horseback who gets spooked and then gets dropped to the ground because the horse gets spooked and kind of kicks him off. And then we see a crowd showing up and some more cops showing up, like sheriffs are showing up. You find out the gentleman who fell off the horse is actually the sheriff's son, and he's actually a little bit slow. I know I used the R word earlier, but we'll just say a little bit slow. He's special. And the sheriff's like, oh, you guys are here for the Winterfest. And they're like, yeah. Yeah, also, we're here for, meet a girl named Sarah. I forget the last name that they say. The cop's like, no, there's no Sarah that name that lives here. There's only the one Sarah that works in the bank. That's the only Sarah that lives in this town, because we're such a small town. We know everyone who lives there. She apparently works in the only bank in town, of course. And then we see them inside the bank, and Alvin and Dave look around like they're kind of scoping the place out. And Bill's looking around and notices the security guard is asleep in the chair. And he's like flicking his nose and flicking his ear, and the security guard doesn't wake up at all. Then he sees this security cord coming behind the officer, and he looks up at the camera, looks down at the cord, and the cord is actually cut. It's not even attached to anything. Then this lady comes over to talk to Alvin, saying the sign says, take a pen. Not all the pens, though. Then this old man comes over, and we find out the girl talking to Alvin is actually Sarah, and I believe the old man's name is Mr. Anderson. Bill comes over to talk to her and says, sorry about my brother. He's, mentally retarded is the words that he just uses. It's a different time. The word didn't mean as much, apparently. And then after they talk, Sarah goes to do her work, and Bill lights up smoke, saying there's no money in this bank. And then the guards come in to drop off, I think, $250,000, and Bill starts choking on his smoke, and they leave the bank. It's like, oh, okay, maybe there is some stuff here. Then the car, they are driving down some back roads, and Dave says to Bill, would you be upset if I told you that maybe there's a slight chance, just maybe, there's some guns in the trunk of the car? Bill makes them pull over to the car, and Alvin says, well, we only got the car from Fast Eddie. And he's like, well, who's that? Well, he runs a gun store, and he's a drug dealer and other stuff. So they open up the trunk, and Alvin's like, oh my gosh, there's a whole arsenal in the back. Wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that was going to happen. Then we see them in the grocery store. I think it's like a grocery store, and maybe it's like this little town shop, because there's also clothes in there as well. And Alvin's trying to steal some Captain Crunch, but all he's literally doing is spilling all the cereal onto the floor. And then he sees a toy on the ground, so he picks it up and pockets it as he's trying to walk away stealthily as he's stepping on the cereal, and it's crunching the whole way. Then we see Bill getting mad at Alvin for trying to steal stuff, and we find out Alvin has a jacket full of random stuff like ski masks and sunglasses and other things. And that's when I'm like, okay, are they not in a grocery store? Because they got groceries, but they also got clothing and everything else. The clerk is ringing some stuff up because they're getting ready to leave, and then his helper is behind him, breathing down his neck, and the clerk's like, well, can you bag up the stuff? And the helper's like, well, all of it? It's like, no, just the stuff you don't have an emotional attachment attachment to. Yes, all the stuff, you idiot. Then we see them in the back of the car getting ready to hit up the bank in their new disguise, their sunglasses and ski masks. They go in the bank and the old banker is still asleep, and they start to hold everyone up in the bank. One of the old ladies in the bank says, it's Christmas Eve and it's not right for what you guys are going to do. You're going to wreck Winterfest for us. And we find out the old lady is actually married to, I think, the president of the bank, which is Mr. Anderson. They find out the vault key is locked. So Dave says everyone raise their hands who has the key, and he looks around. Everyone already has their hands up because they already were told to raise their hands, and then he's like, lower your hands. Okay, who has a key? And he tells them to raise their hands, and the one lady goes to raise her hands like, oh no, you didn't mean like car keys or house key? Okay, I'll put my hand back down. And then the lady mentions her husband is the only one with the vault key and that he's on his lunch right now at the moment, and they're gonna have to wait till he's back. And Bill grabs the old lady and takes her outside to their car, and he kicks the grill a couple times to get Alvin's attention because Alvin's off in his own little world. He's like, we gotta go over to this restaurant that's across the street, which is convenient because we need to get the bank key because we're not waiting 45 minutes for the Mr. Anderson to come back to unlock the vault. I want to get this job done, and I want to get it done now. Then we got to Dave back in the bank, singing songs with the bank hostages, and I might try and get a clip of this one, but I forgot what the song is, but he's like, if you guys screw up, you guys gonna get shot. We see Bill trying to make his way through the restaurant. It's jam fucking packed. He's getting pissed off, and then he raises his gun, and they're saying, it's a robbery, and now he makes a face. He's like, we're going to rob both places? And then while everyone's, their attention is on full awareness of what's going on in the situation, Alvin actually hands his gun to one of the patrons. He's like, can you hold this so I can eat some of your food? I'm just hungry right now. It's been a while. Then we see Alvin mentioning they shouldn't leave the people in the restaurant. So then we cut to Bill and Alvin trying to take everyone out of the restaurant and move them across the street into the bank as Dave is doing yoga with the other people that are inside the bank to try and relax them. Like, you guys just gotta relax. Everything's gonna be fine. We're just robbing the bank. We're not gonna hurt you unless you guys try to screw up, and then we're gonna shoot you. It's fine. Just relax. Stop shaking everyone. And then they start coming in the bank, and then Dave's like, what, did you guys bring the whole town? I just got the first group of people to relax. Now they're all stressed out again because now there's a bigger group of people. They make Mr. Anderson open the vault. We see Bill sneaking into the vault over the laser trip wires as Dave is doing some breathing exercises with the new group of people, trying to get them all to calm down. Then on the way out of the vault, he actually hits one of the lasers and the alarm goes off. And then as Bill and Dave are getting all the money together, they hear police sirens, and Alvin is starting to freak out in the car. And he's like, no, officer, I was just sitting here. He's just going over his plan. That's what he's going to say. He's like, no, officer, I was just sitting here. It's just a coincidence that the alarm's going off. And as they get ready to get into the car, Alvin, he speeds off because he's freaking out. Bill and Dave start to chase after him. He stops, and then he speeds away again. Then he finally get to stop, and Bill's like, oh, I wonder if he's going to drive away this time. They finally get in the car, and we see them driving down the back road to their second getaway car that they have stashed off to the side. While changing things over, the keys fall out of Bill's pocket. He realizes that they still have the vault keys, and I think it's Dave. He's like, wow, you want to hit it up next year too? Make it a little Christmas family tradition, huh? And then we cut to inside the jail, and we see a big mafia guy known as Vinny talking about this bank that he can rob because it's a bank out in the middle of nowhere. The guards are stupid, the wires are all cut, and we see this old man saying, hey, did you hear about the TV, what was on TV? He just heard about this bank that got robbed in Paradise, and that's the bank that Vinny's talking about. He gets pissed off, and he just sees red. He sees the image of Dave and Alvin sitting in front of him, and it's just clear red like a bowl. And he gets so pissed off that he flips the table that he's sitting at inside the jail. Then we see a helicopter landing in Paradise as the sheriffs and his kid are meeting up with the special agents who are wondering if they saw anyone suspicious in town earlier today. And then we see the agents in this briefing room that's actually a gym. And they're looking at the map, and he's like, well, they must be headed north. I'm assuming that's the only way they're heading. North must be the only way of getting out of Paradise. Then in the car, Bill is freaking out because he saw the same farmhouse again, and they're going in circles. And Alvin's like, no, I just took a left and a left and another left. We're not going in circles. Then a state trooper drives by them and spins out and starts chasing after them, so they go to speed away. And somehow Alvin is driving and crashes the car off this area that's before a bridge. It lands on a frozen lake, and Alvin's blaming the crash on the car for not having chains on the tires because he needs chains on the tires if he's going to be driving in the back roads when it's winter. Then a guy yells down asking what happened, and they're like, well, had an accident, kind of drove off the road. And then they need to come in his car or they're going to freeze to death. And they're like, okay, I guess we don't really have much of an option. They get in the guy's car, and they're made to sing Christmas songs because he's taking them back to his aunt and uncle's house, and his aunt and uncle like to sing Christmas songs a lot. So he's like, you guys gotta be warm up, you gotta be warm to do this because there's gonna be a lot of singing coming right now. And then then at this point, Bill sees they are heading back into paradise because they drove by the Welcome to Paradise sign. We see them showing up at the guy's aunt and uncle's house, which is actually Mr. Anderson's home, the man who owns the bank. And then he's like, I remember you guys from the bank. And Bill's like, looking all confused. He's like, what bank? What are you talking about, bank? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to put you guys on blast. You know, the bank got robbed earlier today by three guys, because there was a getaway driver. And he's like, oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. He's like, well, no, I just remember you guys talking to Sarah. Sarah upstairs. We call her Sarah upstairs because she actually lives upstairs in this house too. That's how small of a goddamn town it is. Then the Mr. Anderson gives them all presents from under the tree because they need warm clothes to wear. And he's like, Bill's like, this is from your wife. I can't take this. He's like, yes, it's fine. Merry Christmas. Then we see Sarah coming downstairs because, like I said, she lives upstairs. He's like, well, hello, Sarah, upstairs. Or Bill says that to her. And then he's like, well, actually, maybe I should call you Sarah downstairs because now you're downstairs. Clever. You're so funny, Nicolas Cage. We also find out they have a dog in the home named Tripod. I'm going to let that sink in for a few seconds if you guys can wonder why it's called Tripod. Well, guess what? It's called Tripod because it's only got 3 legs, which is going to come in later on in the movie, which is kind of a funny little joke. Then we see Dave talking to this kid who's watching TV. And then on TV, we see a news report coming out about inmates who escaped jail, and on the TV we see a picture of Vinny's mugshot and his buddy's mugshot, and Dave's like, oh crap, shit, oh, this is not gonna be good. Oh god, he's already on to me. Then Dave grabs the phone to call the mom. She picks up the phone, and then the phone's taken by Vinny, saying he wants the money or she's going to be thrown out the window. And this whole time Dave's trying to pretend that he's actually talking to his mother because Bill wants to talk to her, and then Vinny is asking where his money is. The entire time Bill wants to talk to his mom, but Dave keeps pretending, I'm too busy, I'm talking to her. And then he hangs up the phone. He's like, oh, sorry, did you actually want to talk to mom? I'm sorry, you should have said something. I didn't understand that you want to talk to mom. She's doing good though. She's just making some dinner for tomorrow and stuff. Yeah, it's fine. And then Vinny's buddy's like, well, what did he tell you? He's like, told me he loved her. Because the whole time Dave is trying to pretend that he's talking to his mother, so he pretend that he's saying I love you to his mom, and he actually said it to Vinny, the guy who's going to rip his guts out. And then we see Bill and everyone sitting down for a family meal, and Alvin grabs the gravy and starts smothering his plate with it to the point where you can't see the potatoes or anything else on his plate because it's just literally a plate full of gravy. Then at the table, Dave is wondering how much money was stolen from the bank because he's curious how much they made off with, because apparently the number that they say is usually not the actual number. They're trying to, play around with the numbers a bit. Then at this point, Dave says how robberies stimulate the economy, and then Mr. Anderson's like, not so much in this town because the big city banks are trying to take out my little bank because I'm not making enough money. I'm trying to actually give back to the community than take from the community. And then Dave's like, oh, I feel like an asshole now. Sarah then comes back in saying how she found them a bus to take them to Philly, and then from Philly they can take the train to New York. And then Bill's like, well, hopefully we can make it back to New York, by midnight. We then see them getting ready to go out in this blizzard as Sarah's getting ready to head to the bus station. Then we see 2 guys from the store. They're acting as deputies now because apparently the sheriff needed some extra help, so he went and got some townsfolk to be on-call deputies, and it's the dumb clerk, the clerk and then his dumb helper. They're watching and pretty much stalking the brothers the whole time. And then the dumb brother's like, oh, I think they're going somewhere. The clerk looks over, he's like, no shit, eh? Yeah, they're in a car driving away. Of course they're going somewhere. Then we see Vinny and his buddy taking the mom into the car to find her sons, of course. And she's pissing them off to the point where they threaten to put her in the trunk of the car. Then we see the boys getting dropped off at the bus station. And Bill goes off to get tickets. He's like, you two split up, act like you guys don't know each other. And then Dave's bugging Alvin. Alvin's like, leave me alone, you creep. Go away. Shoo, I don't know you. Stranger danger. And then the 2 guys show up. I think one of them's Ted, the clerk owner who's acting as a deputy. And he's coming up with a plan to take the money because they are tired of working the same old stupid job. And they want to steal the money from the bank for themselves so they don't have to work at the little grocery store or whatever the hell they're working at. Then we see Bill taking a few dollars out of the duffel bag to pay for the bus ticket. But then he starts freaking out because sheriffs start actually walking in. So he puts the money back. He's like, I really don't have the money right now to buy the tickets. I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't get home for Christmas. And then the bus ticket lady is very nice, so she just gives him the tickets and says Merry Christmas. He's like, I can't do it. He's like, well, you're in paradise, so take it. Then we see Bill outside the bus stop, and someone asks to see what's in the bag, and he's being like, what bag, as he's holding it like a baby. He's like, nah, there's no bag here, what are you talking about? And then this stupid clerk goes to try and steal the bag, and then he gets dropped to the ground, and the cops all pull the gun out on him. And then it gets a little confusing at one point because then the other clerk gets the bag, but then there's gunshots and he drops drops the bag, and Bill makes off with the bag, and the two brothers follow off with him. But now at this point, when the clerk tried to steal the bag, or the grocery store guy that's acting as a deputy, once they tried to steal the bags, or the bag of money, now it seems like they're the bank robbers, so now they're being put under the spotlight. Then we see the three brothers in their spot of town, and Bill's freaking out, trying to have a smoke as he's shaking, trying to come up with a plan to get out of town. Then we see back at the FBI briefing spot, which is inside this school gym. As the cops are playing ball, he's like, can you guys stop so I can actually focus and look at the map? I think two kids, or maybe one kid, comes in and says he saw like the car off in the river. Then we see the three brothers as they're taking a small boat and pushing it onto the river to use as their new getaway vehicle. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but that's going to be a long row. Then we see Vinny, another guy, stopping at a diner and taking the mom out of the car, and literally they're like, I'm tired of your shit, get in the trunk. Just get in the trunk now. I'm not dealing with this anymore. Then we see the brothers in the boat rowing, and then in front of them there's a police helicopter with a searchlight going. And I'm not sure if they hit like rapids at this point in time or what happens, but Alvin falls out of the boat and is getting taken away by this heavy water. And then we see a group of old people finding Alvin, who's stuck in the freezing water up against like a rock or something, and they start making a chain of people to try and save him. And they get him and drag him into the home. Also at this point in time, Dave and Bill show up as well to help, and they drag Alvin in front of this fire inside one of the old person's homes. And Bill's like, he's turning blue, and Dave's like, well, what's that mean? Is that a bad thing? Like, what? Well, blue's a good color. Then the old man gives him CPR, and Alvin's like, hey, you smell good. Then we see the sheriff and the FBI agents pulling the car out of the river, and that's where we find ski masks inside of the car. And he's like, oh, this must have been the getaway vehicle from the bank robbery. Then we see the boys going with the old couple to church, because they're like, hey, thank you for saving my brother's life, so I guess we're gonna go to church together. That's when they run into Mr. Anderson and Sarah, and Sarah pulls Bill off to the side, asking why are they still in town. He's like, well, Mr. Bus, silly enough, just drove away without us. Then Bill says to her he can't leave because he knows what he knows now, and he likes the people of the town, and he wants to help them out. He doesn't want to hurt them at all. Then as they are talking, they notice they're in a graveyard, and for some reason Bill goes to kiss Sarah, and she pulls away and then just walks off. Then we see Dave and Alvin showing up with a horse and sleigh, and they tell Bill to get in because this is a new getaway vehicle, because the cops are starting to show up and they need to get out of the area. We cut and see a bunch of cops showing up to the church as the brothers are trying to escape with horse and sleigh that they stole from the handicapped sheriff's son, who is dressed as Santa. We find out they stole the sleigh, of course, and we are now in a police chase with horse sleigh, if that makes sense. And somehow all the cops get stuck together between each other as the sleigh is going away. One of the cops tries to jump a snowbank and literally crashes right into a tree as the brothers make off in their sleigh out of town. They get off the horse and sleigh, and then Alvin starts to get sad because they don't want to leave the horse behind. Melvin, I think, or Merlin, the horse. I think it's Merlin. And Merlin starts to follow him. Alvin's like, no, sorry, buddy, you gotta stay. I know, I want you to come with me, but you can't. Make it to the highway where they're trying to hitch a ride. Then the horse and sleigh break through this little bit of ice and starts freaking out, and Bill looks back. He's like, oh, fuck's sakes, I can't just let the horse die. So they run back to try and save the horse, and they actually push the horse and sleigh out of the ice somehow. And we see them on this like roadside diner, sitting inside the diner eating, as the horse is standing outside the window just looking in at them. He's like, I want some food too, guys. Bill then has an idea, seeing that they still have the vault keys. He wants to return to Paradise to put the money back in the vault, and Dave's not happy with that plan at all. He's like, what, you want to get pinched? You want to be the first person ever pinched for putting money back into a bank? And then Alvin speaks up. He's like, you know what, I want my share of the money to go back as well. I want to help out the town of Paradise. And then at this point, Alvin breaks out that, it was all just a setup to get Bill to actually to come to Paradise, because this whole entire time, Alvin's actually had Bill's wallet, and that everything was a setup. And then Bill's like, well, what about at work with the cops? And Dave's like, well, about that, I might have slightly, kind of just called in a sniper scare or a bomb scare on top of the roof, and that's why all the cops were showing up. Then Bill gets up, flips the table all pissed off, and walks out looking for someone who's heading back to Paradise. And then he comes up to a car that's getting gas, and we find out he doesn't know Vinny at all, but it's actually Vinny, his buddy, and he's asking for a ride to Paradise. And of course they're heading to Paradise, so they're like, yeah, sure, Christmas, we'll give you a ride. Then we see Dave and Alvin running out to try and stop Bill, but it's too late because they're already driving away. And then in the car, Bill hears this bang sound, and that's what the noise is. And they're like, I don't hear anything. You hear anything? No, I don't hear anything at all. And then they hear the bang sound again. He's like, oh, that? Yeah, we've been hearing that for a couple hours now. I've just been avoiding it. Don't worry about it. And then Bill goes on about how he learned something new tonight, and that he learned that he loves people, and he met the girl that he loves, and her name's Sarah. And he's like, okay, Sarah, huh? And then Vinny's like, well, do you have a picture of her? He's like, no, the only picture I have in my wall is actually my mother. And they laugh about it, and then Bill shows them the picture of his mother and his wallet, and that's when I think Vinny pulls out a gun and threatens to kill him, and then he jumps out of the car, and then there's some gunshots, and Bill's running off because he's confused as to what's going on, because he doesn't know what's going on at all. Like I said, he doesn't know what or who Vinny is at all. He doesn't know anything about the situation. Then we see Dave and Alvin going by on horse, and Bill's pissed off, and he stops them. He's like, you know what, guys, we need to have a real serious talk because someone just tried to kill me. They pull up to the bank, and they send the horse off on its way, and Alvin's like, stay away from the freeway. Then we see the guys getting into the bank as if it's unlocked, which doesn't make any sense, but I guess there's no money in it, so why lock up the doors anyways? And inside the bank, Bill starts telling his brothers how the guys started shooting at him once they showed him a picture of the mom, and he's very confused by what happened. Dave and Alvin keep wondering if they were alone, and Bill keeps questioning them because like, yeah, there was just the two of them. And Dave's like, well, were they alone now? Like, because the whole time Dave's doing this, he's like, well, do they have our mother? And then of course Bill doesn't know anything about the situation. He's like, yeah, it was just the two of them. But they were alone, right? Yeah, it was just the two of them. And then I think Dave tells Bill to be careful because they used the wrong key. It's going to set the alarm off again. And of course, he uses the wrong key, and the alarm does go off again. Then the sheriff mentions the alarm is going off at the bank again. The cops all start to get ready to leave, and we see the vault doors are now locked as well. Because there's like the vault door, and then there's the bar doors behind it. The bar doors are locked, and he's like, I don't have the key for that. Then we see the brothers running in the snow, and they have a plan to put the money on the pastor's doorstep and knock and run away, saying, Merry Christmas, essentially, on the note. Then as they are running away, the two stupid deputies find them and pull a gun on them. He's like, you know what, get in the Jeep now, we're taking you guys away, and we want the money. Then the cop sees the two stupid deputies driving away, saying, you know what, there's been trouble, and every time there's trouble, those two morons are always around, so let's follow them. Then they notice that there's more people in the vehicle with them than the usual two of them. That's when the acting deputy takes the brothers to the Andersons' home because he thinks the three brothers are working with the Andersons to screw over the town, and essentially the money must be somewhere at the Andersons' home. The deputy walks in and then into the Andersons' home, and that's when Vinny's buddy literally takes the gun and pistol whips him in the back of the head, knocking him to the ground. Then we see Bill get into the house, and he sees his mom. He's like, what are you doing here, Mom? And she's like, well, just being held hostage on the birthday of Jesus. Then the stupid deputy goes to sit down, and he sits down on the organ keys, and the whole organ starts playing music. Then Dave tries to explain stuff and says how Bill was tricked, and then Bill says there's no money, and Vinny puts the gun to the mom's head. He's like, what do you mean there's no money? And then Bill tries to say how they are different people than when they started out this morning, and Dave tells Vinny they didn't put the money back in the bank, they gave it to the church, and Vinny doesn't believe them at all and wants to know who wants to die first, essentially, because somebody's going to die unless he gets his damn money. Then at this point, the Andersons' home is surrounded by all the remaining officers and the FBI agents who come on the loudspeaker telling them to put the guns down and come out with their hands up. Then we find out the letter that Vinny wrote was fake because Dave wrote it. He wrote the note because he knew it was the only way to convince the mother and Bill to feel bad, to make them come on this job, or at least make Bill come on the job to get the money, even though that wasn't really the plan that they were told, but it was going to happen anyways. Then Bill keeps mocking Dave for being a liar, and then somehow the slow deputy grabs a gun and shoots Vinny out the window, and then the cops start tear gassing the house, and they swarm right around Vinny and throw all their guns at him. He's like, well, hey, you want to point some guns at me or something? Like, what's going on here, guys? Then as they're cleaning out the house, Tripod comes running out for the gas, and the two FBI agents look down at him as he's humming because he's only got 3 legs. He's like, we didn't do that, did we? I don't think we did that. I don't really know. And then we see everyone being taken into the police station to get everything figured out. The police station's full of all the townsfolk, and the FBI agent tells everyone to pretty much shut up so they can get the situation figured out. Then we see Sarah showing up to talk to the pastor, who then shows her the money that showed up on his doorstep because she wanted proof that they did what they actually said they did. And then we see the FBI agent talking to Mrs. Anderson, asking her to identify the 3 men who robbed the bank earlier today, and she tells the agent that it wasn't the brothers and that the bank robbers aren't there. Then the slow deputy starts screaming, spill on all 3! The acting deputy, I should say, not the sheriff's son. Then their deputy is saying the brothers are the thieves because they bought 3 ski masks from their store earlier today. Then the FBI agent wants to know what the brothers were doing at the time of the robbery. That's when Sarah walks in saying they were Christmas shopping with her, and then Mr. Anderson also vouches for them as well. Then the pastor comes in with the box of money and gives it to the agent. He's like, it just showed up on my doorstep. I don't know what you want me to tell you. Then the agent starts freaking out because nothing is making sense to him, and the agent sits down to talk to the three brothers and tells them, you three are getting the chance of a lifetime, and tells them to get the hell out of the building. So then they all leave happy, and they're with their mother, of course. And the mom says she is proud of them. Then we see the mom starting to pat down Alvin, seeing what he stole, and she actually finds something on him. He's like, I bought that. I swear, I bought that. And the mom doesn't believe him, so she takes that. And he's like, come on, guys, tell her I bought it. I actually did buy it. Mom, give me it back. Then we see Bill talking to Sarah, and he asks her how she would feel if he settled down in a small place like this. And he opened up a store, tried to help out the town, and then she comes in and gives him a kiss. And that's like a romantic part of the movie. Then we see Alvin on the bus taking the hat off of a person sitting in front of him and putting it on top of Dave's head, and then the person turned around and Alvin's pretending to be asleep and Dave's just smiling like, yeah, I didn't do that, but it's on my head now. And then we see the bus driving away and Alvin's like, hey Ma, Bill's still out there, and she's like, sit down, shut up, he's happy, just leave him alone. And then they all head off on their own direction. Bill and Sarah are heading down the street together, and Dave and Alvin and the mom are heading back to New York, and that's the end of the movie. And it's just gonna be like a happy ending for them, for Bill and Sarah at least. The other two brothers are probably just gonna be up back in jail within a week or two, so that's besides the point though. But yeah, this is the first time I ever watched this, and actually I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty fun. It's that stupid SNL style comedy, and I feel like it's an SNL movie, but I didn't do the research, so it probably actually isn't. I'm assuming there'd be something SNL related in the trivia or whatnot. But yeah, I think it's a fun Christmas movie. I might add it into the rotation. It's definitely a movie I could watch out of season as well, just because of the setting and whatnot. But on the Rotten Christmas scale, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. I like the trio. I like Nicolas Cage, Dana Carvey, and Lovitz all on their own. But adding them all three together, I thought was really fun. And it makes a good combination of characters, for sure. But yeah, I definitely highly recommend you guys check it out. And like I said, it's apparently on Disney Plus now, or you can buy it cheap at Walmart and the little discount bin, for $5-10. So it's not that big of a deal, but definitely check it out. I think you guys would definitely enjoy it. And which brings us to our movie we're going to watch next week. We're going to do another Christmas related movie, just because we are still in December when this other episode's going to come out. We're going to watch for the first time ever. We're going to watch Mixed Nuts with Steve Martin. It's a 1994 movie. I've never seen it before. I might have seen it on TV back in the day, like a long ass fucking time ago, but I don't recall it at all. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to be fun. I watched the trailer for it quickly, and you can watch it on Amazon or Apple TV. But yeah, definitely looking forward to watching it. It's a comedy / dark comedy for an hour and 37 minutes, so it's a little bit quicker than this one, but definitely a good movie nonetheless. And well, I don't know if it's a good movie. I shouldn't say it's a good movie because I haven't watched it yet, so I don't know. I'm not a huge Steve Martin fan, but I do like his 90s stuff a little bit more than the latter. Hopefully you guys will check that one out as well. Like I said again at the beginning of this podcast, I appreciate everything you guys have been doing for me. I appreciate all the shares, the reviews, and comments. Just keep it all coming. I love it. I love seeing you guys enjoying it, and I love seeing the numbers grow. It just makes me feel good, like I'm actually doing something good for once, because there's a lot of times, I'm not going to get too much into it, but there's a lot of times where, even doing artwork, I feel like the stuff sucks, so I don't feel like I get the confidence boost that I should, that everyone else says I should get. But seeing that you guys do enjoy listening to my dumbass talk for some reason, I don't know if it's the comedy aspect or the detailed aspect, I don't know which one it is. Maybe it's a combination of both, but I do appreciate it all, and I will talk to you guys all soon. Like I said, hopefully you guys all have a great Christmas, great New Year. We'll have another episode out before the New Year anyways. But yeah, I appreciate everything, and I hope you guys all have a great time. Make sure to check out the links down below. The outro music is by Toronto-based horror band Blood Opera. I'll have their GoFundMe stuff still linked down below as well. And then my personal Linktree link will be a little bit farther down at the bottom if you guys want to check out my Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and all that kind of fun stuff. And yeah, until next time, I'll talk to you guys all later. Peace.
I just did what the map said. I made 4 lefts.
4 lefts is a circle, you idiot!
Are you sure?
Whisper